It's been over, I've been home over a week and a half and haven't heard not one word from them.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of such a thing. I would like, normally with these cases we cover in the US, the detective would, again, at least even if they don't have an update, be reaching out, trying to provide some comfort. I mean, do you have any idea why, Colette, why they would suddenly just almost be ghosting you?
Well, my idea is really saddens me. When I think about it, I'm like, why wouldn't I hear from them? This is my child. I feel like my child had two strikes against her when she went over there to that yoga retreat. And one was that she's Black, and the other is that she's transgender. And that disturbs me.
Did you did you get a feeling that you weren't being taken seriously, or that the case wasn't being respectfully handled while you were there?
Yes, I got that feeling most of the time. When we're in a room with 18 corporals, lieutenants, superintendents, just a lot of people, and yeah, just a lot of people to deal with and talk to. I didn't understand why does it take these many people? I'm here to find out what happened to my child. My child is missing. Get on the case.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that, because when I was there and they had the press conference, the police made a point of saying that you seemed pleased with their investigation.
And I could see how they're saying that because my mother taught me manners to say please and thank you. And yes, I was saying to them, thank you for what you're doing. And please, and saying please. I was very polite. They took if it's a mistake if they took my politeness for being pleased. I was not pleased at all with the investigation.
Yeah, and I can understand why. Emily, the ashram's email to the family, which we read part of it, says the facts gathered by the police and the family indicate Taylor left voluntarily with the intent to return. Is there any reason that you can come up with that she would have I would have left voluntarily? And I've been there, so I'm envisioning it. I mean, it's not an easy place to just leave. It's an island, so it's hard to imagine how she would even do that. But I mean, what do you make of the ashram, coming up with that conclusion?
In my opinion, that's a really convenient story for them. I mean, let's be real. Taylor spent thousands of dollars to be there. She wanted the skills and the peace and the wellness that was offered by the teacher training. For them to say that the evidence points to Taylor having left of her own volition, I think they want us to accept that so that they can just turn their hands up and go about business as usual. But everything that we've been told does not point to Taylor having left of her own volition.
What do you make, Colette, of the way the ashram has been responding? Because I've interviewed you several times now. I mean, you haven't specifically said that you think the ashram is responsible for anything in terms of her disappearance, but just that they weren't quick enough to act, there weren't missing posters, but they went as far as to claim defamation based on some of your interviews, which isn't something I've ever really seen happen before during an active missing case like this. I mean, what did you make of the response, Colette?
It's not true. It's not defamation. It's just what they didn't do. I mean, my child had been missing 5 days before they even put up a flyer with Taylor missing on that resort, and they didn't inform the other classmates, the students, that Taylor was missing. I don't understand that. When someone goes missing, everywhere else I've seen, it's reported everywhere and instantly. And I think I read in one of them reports that they reported my child missing in the afternoon. No, it was not in the afternoon because they told me to wait till after dinner time. And it wasn't until like 8:30, 9 o'clock that they even went to the Royal Bahamas police force.
Emily, what do you think needs to happen now? I mean, Colette's not getting any updates from the police. The embassy said that they were assisting, I think, initially. I mean, how does this move forward?
Well, number one, I don't know how the embassy could co-sign this investigation. We've said from the very beginning that the Royal Bahamas Police Force has said that they were working with the FBI, but we have been told multiple times that they are not working with the FBI. Rather, the legal attaché at the embassy has observer status to the investigation. That the Royal Bahamian Police Force needs to invite the FBI to actually investigation, and that's what needs to happen. And that's why we're calling on the U.S. government to lean on the State Department so that they can encourage the Royal Bahamian Police Force to actually invite the FBI so that there is a real investigation.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.